You asked me not to write you a love poem, and I guess for anybody else, it shouldn't have been so hard to keep that promise. But I have a bad habit of bleeding ink, and every time I think the scars you left are healed, I am somehow faced with more metaphors to clean, and you asked me not to write you a love poem, because you didn't want to know how much you meant to me. You thought the pressure might crush you. Honesty is something I've come to reserve for the penciled-in heartbeats that flow from my fingers. They don't mind being crushed. They know it means they were too good for this world. You asked me not to write you a love poem, and I said okay. What else can you say to the person who makes you bleed metaphors day after day? It's okay. I like to think of broken promises as bridges burning, and though that means going back is no longer an option on the card table, I think the fact that we made it across alive is pretty incredible. When we hold hands, our palms are so tight that gravity gets jealous. Maybe that's why my heart drops to the floor every time you walk in the room. Maybe that's why my fingers grip the pen tighter when I write your name. Maybe that's why the metaphors keep finding paths and back roads through my veins and onto scrap pieces of paper littered in my room. But you asked me not to write you a love poem, and in doing so, indirectly asked me not to love you. I am sorry my heart is a wild colt. I am sorry I wake up in the middle of the night bleeding metaphors. I am sorry I love with a pen and paper, but bleeding feelings is the only way I know how to stay afloat under the heavy sea that is my own soul. My memories are holding a gun to the back of my head, and the air around us is force-feeding me metaphors. My hands are shaking with how much they want. They need to confess their reason for being. But you asked me not to write you a love poem, and in doing so, unknowingly asked me not to love you. I am sorry that I can't keep that promise. Honesty is something I've come to reserve for the people I make from paper. Just close your eyes and listen. Let's crumple together.